All right. Good morning and namaste to all of you. Let's start our Wednesday class with some prayers. Om Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Parbrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Om Bhu Bhavaswaha, Tatsavitravare Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi, Dhiyo Yo Nah Prachodayat. Asto Ma Satgamya, Tamso Ma Jyotirgamya, Mrityor Ma Amritam Gamya. Om Sahna Vavatu, Sahna Bhunaktu, Saviryam Karvavahi, Tejasvi Navaditamastu, Ma Vidvishavahi. Om Shanti 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 Om. Today's topic is healing. Healing. So whenever we hear the healing word, that means there got to be some kind of a disturbance we want to heal from. Okay. And disturbance really means, in common language, illnesses. Illnesses. And there are three kinds of illnesses. Adhi bhautik, Adhi devik, and adhyatmik. So in English, you can say they are physical, mental, and spiritual. Physical illness or sickness is due to different forms of toxic conditions, infectious diseases, or even accidents. And mental sickness is caused by fear, worry, anger, and other emotional inharmonies. So they are Adhi Devik Dukkha. And the third kind, the spiritual sickness, is due to our ignorance of our true relationship with God. Adhyatmik Dukkha. This last category is a supreme disease, which we call avidya or agyan or ignorance. We have forgotten who we are. When a person banishes ignorance or avidya, he banishes the causes of all physical, mental, and spiritual diseases. So that's why I said it's a supreme disease. We know that doctors try to learn the causes of diseases and to remove those causes so that the illness don't recur. And in their use of many specific material methods of cure, doctors are often very skillful. However, not every disease responds to medicine or even surgery. And that's where lies the essential limitation of these methods. Chemicals and medicines affect only the physical composition of the bodily cells and do not alter the life principle of the cells. In many cases, no cure of disease is possible until the healing power of God has corrected from within. And our rishis, they called that power a munj shakti, the healing power. There's often an imbalance of life energy in the body. So the two basic causes of a disease are underactivity and overactivity of the life energy, prana, according to the yogic texts, that structures and sustains the body, the prana, the life energy. They even divided this prana shakti according to the function into the 5 divisions. And the improper functioning of any one or more of the 5 governing pranic currents adversely affects bodily health. And I'm sure you're familiar with these 5 prans. One is called Vyan. Vyan is for the circulation in the entire body. Udan. Udan helps our metabolism. Saman. Saman helps our assimilation. And Pran, crystallization. And Apan, elimination. So the improper functioning of any one or more. Sometimes one could be not functioning right. Sometimes more than one is not functioning because they are connected. If Saman is not functioning, then Apan definitely will be sluggish. If Pran is not functioning properly, definitely the Vyan will get affected too. So to repeat these 5, Vyan, circulation, Udan, metabolism, Saman, assimilation, Pran, crystallization, and Apan, elimination. Very important functioning of all that. When the natural harmonious balance of these subtle energies, the prans, is restored by God's divine power, the atomic balance of the physical cells they nourish is restored, the healing. And that's how the healing becomes perfect. That's why the pranayama, that systematic breathing which we do, while keeping our mind either centered on the prana or centered on the divine power, healing is there. And that's why pranayama is considered the soul of yoga. So long as balanced vitality is maintained by right living, proper diet, yogic cleansing, and I'm sure you're familiar with the yogic cleansings. See, outside body we clean by taking a bath, but inside cleansing also, which is called a yogic cleansing. Cleaning your nasal passage, cleaning your stomach, cleaning your intestines, cleaning your skull also. Very important. Cleaning your eyes, cleaning your throat. Those are called yogic cleansings. And pranayam, and even meditation. The body's own life energy electrocutes disease before it can develop. It's almost like before house becomes messy, keep it clean every day. So before those diseases sprout and become so paramount, get rid of them on a daily basis. Eat right, sleep right, talk right, read right, watch right, pray right. All those activities which we do the right way. And that is called a yoga anukul jivan. Living a life like a yogi. Yogic masters, they don't say that run away from these duties of yours, but perform the duties as a yogi does. Okay, yogic life. So injury and disease are more often the cause of death than the old age. Remember that. Most people die before true old age has set in. One bodily part had ceased functioning before the rest. That means there's a disease. It may also happen that if one part is stronger or more developed than another. And what is the resulting effect of that? Imbalance of the life force in the body. And that can cause suffering or even death. For example, someone with a weak heart in a strong muscled body may injure his heart by overuse of his muscular strength. That's why we hear the marathon runners, very young, but fall dead while running. There's a famous athlete you might know, Eugene Sandow. He died at the age of 58 when a blood vessel in his brain burst as a result of his having raised a car single-handed. So there was a muscular strength, but heart was weak. So over-exercise that leads to unbalanced development may have harmful consequences. That's why yoga teaches us how to balance it properly. The yogic exercises place the least strain on the heart and provide for a uniform development of the body. There's a stretching, there's a relaxing, there's a twisting, there's an inversion. There are strengthening exercises according to your own level. Very gentle exercises, but very powerful exercises which develop the whole body. We should be careful to maintain physical well-being by right observance of the law of nature. We should know that this body is made out of Prakriti. And there's a law behind the Prakriti. That's why Lord Krishna said, Yuktahar viharase. Everything in moderation. So that's why I was telling you, overactivity or underactivity. Both can cause disease and imbalance. Our diet should be wisely chosen. We know that body requires for health certain amounts of starch, protein, and fat. But in excess, they can be harmful. That's why these excessive diets, sometimes too much protein, sometimes too much fruit, or sometimes too much water. That's all excess. Keep moderate. Nature tries by reflex action to remove causes of physical distress. That's why we see that when the dust gets into the eye, we involuntarily try to wink the dust away. And that's what happens. Nature does it in our body also, creates a temperature, or even shows us a pain, that there is some difficulty over there. So when dirt or dust enters the nose, we sneeze. So nature is telling us that something is wrong. Pay attention to it. When disease attacks any internal organ of the body, Nature provides many means by which the organ may protect, defend, and renew itself. So that means we got to give our body a little rest. Listen to the body. Let it heal. Do not overcompensate with the medicines. Harmful microbes are ceaselessly attacking the body. Good ones are ceaselessly defending it, aided sometimes by diet, herbs, medicines, and other health measures. But an unlimited source of protection lies in our strong thought that we are a child of God. We got to believe that also. While getting the help from the outside, believing that we are children of God, having that faith that the real me is stronger than the disease, whether it's a physical disease or a mental disease, or even a spiritual disease. I am a child of God. I am protected by God. I am loved by God. Mind has much greater power than medicine. But to deny any power of medicine is definitely unreasonable, because if drugs have no power, a person can take poison and not die. And we know that doesn't happen. While one should not deny the potency of medicines and drugs, one should understand that continuous dependence on them will prove their limitations. A time will come when they will lose their former efficacy in restoring the body to health. The only infinite power of healing lies in our mind and soul. Infinite power. The body cannot be healed by spiritual means if the mental power and faith are weak. So while we are exercising, eating good, living in a clean atmosphere, we got to make sure that we keep on working our mind also, on our faith also. Permanent healing comes through the boundless power of the mind and through God's grace. In vegetables and fruits, God has infused medicinal power to help in overcoming disease. That's why certain fruits, certain vegetables, certain herbs, they have that. Who put that power in there? Our Creator did. Even these, however, have but a limited potency. The organs of the body are essentially sustained by the energy of God. And the person who employs various methods to increase this energy will have it as his command a greater power for healing, which is afforded by any medicine or diet. So that means a wise person will use the food also, thinking that there's a godly power in there, the herbs also, but more than that, knowing and cultivating and understanding the power of God within. 3/4 of the body consists of water. We know that. So the bodily demand for water is much greater than that for food. So it is very important to give the body plenty of water. It is also important to keep the blood stream healthy. So the most important principle in connection with eating is to avoid any form of overindulgence. Last week I was telling you, even for a student, one of the characteristics is alapahara. Eat in moderation. Because we don't want this body to become sick. and weak before its time. Alapahar. As we learn to restrain ourselves, we become healthier. So whatever is in our plate, that doesn't mean we got to fill up the plate and eat it. Eat it all. What did our ancestors do when the food came in front of them? They first prayed. Then they took out part of it, whatever was in their plate, from their portion, took out for the dog. Because in India, there were dogs outside in the street. Little bit for the cow also. And then whatever the rest was, prayed again, made it a prasad, and then ate it. So these days, what we do, food is in front of us without even thinking about anything or anybody or even God. We just start indulging. And that's how this overindulgence has become part of our culture right now. Another good method of physical healing is through fasting. Every tradition, every faith, they have fastings. Whether for a month or 40 days. But in Hinduism, we have fasting throughout the year. Throughout. We all know when the animals are sick, what do? They fast. So it's like a built in their system. The bodily machinery has an opportunity to cleanse itself and to obtain a much needed rest. So you got to learn from the animals, from the birds. When you're not feeling good, fast. But as human beings, we always look for the things to eat. Even when we are sick, what can I eat? Give yourself a little rest. Going back to the medicines, in using medicines, we often find that they are not powerful enough to bring about a healing. Or sometimes they are so powerful, they can irritate the bodily tissues instead of healing them. So that's why there are so many limitations in physical methods of healing. So the right thing to do is, sure, prevent the disease first. And if the disease comes, definitely use the medicine, but keep on using the other methods also. Many people are continually busy looking after their physical welfare and neglect the development of their minds. And the key to all power lies in the mind. Our Vedas, they call the mind a devata. It's very powerful. If one fails to cultivate that power of mind, when serious disease comes, he may die without making any resistance, regardless of the age. Because mind gives up. Conserve the vital energy. Follow a balanced diet. And another thing I would tell you, always smile and be happy. Even a physical smile. He who finds joy within himself discovers that his body is charged with electric current. That is the power of happiness and the smile. Sure, there is a life energy in the food, in the medicines, but who gave the life energy to the food and the medicine? God did. So when we smile, we are connecting with God. We are drawing it directly from the source. So the healing methods I have touched on briefly in connection with food and the cleansing of the body are limited in their effectiveness, but when a person is joyful within, that person invites the help of the inexhaustible power of God. Okay? And I really mean the sincere joyfulness. Sincere. Not that which you feign outwardly, but you're not feeling it within. You got to feel it. Feel joyful. A genuine smile distributes the cosmic current of prana to every cell of the body. You can try that. Frown and then smile and see the difference in your cellular body. Try that sometimes. The happy man is less subject to disease because happiness attracts into the body a greater supply of universal life energy. So try to stay happy. Okay. I'm not talking about that laughing yoga or silly laughing without any reason. I'm talking about the feeling the joy, that ananda, the bliss. There are many things to talk about on this subject of healing, but the main idea is that we should depend more on our mind power, which is unlimited. Unlimited. Okay? So that's why this whole practice of yoga is actually, sure, we take care of the body, hatha yoga, but mainly it's for the mind. Mind. So the rules for guarding against disease should be, if you want to look at the mind, self-control. That is mental. Moderation in everything, that is a self-control. These eyes should not see what is wrong, which can make me sick, make my mind sick, and eventually the body will become sick too. So self-control, exercise, proper eating, drinking plenty of water, occasional fasting, smiling all the time from within, not giggling, not silly laughing, smiling within. Those smiles come from meditation, actually. A person who meditates every day, it shows on the face. There's a contentment on the face. There's a smile on the face. Little things don't disturb that person. You will find with all this the eternal power of God. God is not far away. God is right here. Yesterday we were reading in Mahabharata the beautiful episode when Draupadi called Lord Krishna for help. And then when he was about to leave, he told Yudhishthira, I never leave. God never leaves. Where will God go? If God is omnipresent, everywhere, every speck of this universe, where can he go? He's omnipresent. When you are in ecstasy with him, you consciously bring his healing presence in your body. And these are not just words. It gets experienced by yogis. Mind power carries with it the unfailing energy of God. That is the power you want in your body. And there's a way to bring in that power. The way is communion with God. It's not just a friendship with God, it's a communion with God. Again, let me repeat it to you. That saying, if Ram is the word you are saying for God, Ram, Ram, bol. You can use it Om, you can use any other name. Those are different names, but Ram, Ram, bol. Ram, Ram, rat. Then after that comes Ram, Ram, Ram. And this Ramana is a communion with God. And how do we do that? See, when we are chanting, that's a Ram, Ram, bol. When we are praying, sure, again we are Ram, Ram, rat. But when we are meditating, that is Ram, Ram, Ram. Because we are quietening our mind, we are quietening our body, we are quietening our intellect, and we just want to, we are so alert, so aware, we want to listen to God. That is a communion in the silence. When your communion with Him is perfect, the healing is permanent. And I'm talking about the healing at the physical level, at the mental level, and at the soul level also. You don't feel away from Him. There's no sorrow. There's no dukkha. Many people in distress try to evoke that power. And when they are not healed at once, they lose faith in the Lord. Instead of continuing to trying to enlist His aid, they just start to blame God. It doesn't work. They start saying. The external factors of medicines and fasting have a certain beneficial effect on the physical body. But remember, they do not affect the inner force that sustains the cells. Because grosser cannot affect the subtler. Okay? Remember that principle. It is only when you go to God and receive His healing power that the life is directed into the atoms of the bodily cells and produces instantaneous healing. Wouldn't you just ask yourself, wouldn't you? I mean, we are all intelligent people. Wouldn't you rather depend more on God? But the attempt to change our dependence from physical to spiritual methods should be gradual. Should be gradual. It takes time to change our way of thinking from dependence on food to dependence on mind. Okay, so I'm not asking you to just throw away all the medicines, but at least when you eat food, remember God. When you take medicine also, remember God. When you're doing your yoga exercises, remember God. When you're doing the yogic cleansings also, remember God. At least if there's no communion right now, at least have a friendship with God. Think that God is with you. So gradually you will see the improvement. To be responsive to the healing power of God, the mind must be trained to believe in divine aid. Okay, that faith has to be there. We are all of us are sustained by the cosmic beam. Cosmic beam. See, just like there's a beam of light from a projector on the screen to show us the picture. The same way all of us are sustained by the cosmic beam. And the divine light is pouring from the projection booth of eternity. So it's like a God is just showering us with that light. And we got to remember that all the time. And we got to connect with that. So everything is under that power. Whether it's a medicine or whether it's a food or whether it's a body or water. Or when we exercise also, everything under that beautiful beam. The reason I picked up this topic today, because we see people suffering. Sometimes when they are suffering, we end up feeling their pain also. But we can help them only if we are healthy. If our mind is calm, if our body is healthy, if we are connected with God, if we are smiling within, only then we can make them smile too. Otherwise, the news we get these days, it seems like the situation is hopeless. But not for a devotee of God. Situation is never hopeless. Try to connect with Him. Because whatever is happening, it's happening for a reason. Stay connected with God. And then all these levels of healing, it just happens actually. You don't even know how it happens. Miraculously, it happens. Bodies get healed. Mind gets healed. There's no fear. There's no anger. There's no worry. And there's no other emotional disturbance. They go away. Because they don't exist in God. They don't exist in soul. And soul does not feel that I am alone. It feels one with God. So this is a yogic way of living. Yogic way of living. So let's stop it here. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vidite Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you very much.